Hey YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 here with another Blue Eyes Dragons deck update. I've had to think really hard and long about this build of the deck because it's taken me a day and a half to edit the deck. And now you're probably thinking, what the heck? I was looking through older versions of my builds and everything, look at the more successful builds, and I was thinking about what cards are actually really good for the deck, what cards I'm beginning to not like for the deck, and what's best suited for this format. And just drawing on past experiences and everything, it's as I said, it's taken me a day and a half to build the deck. I had like three other versions of the deck built, but it didn't feel right. But I think I've got a good enough build now, so I'm going to show you guys. I'll explain the choices I've made, and I do hope you enjoy the video, okay? So here we go, Blue Eyes Dragons. Start off with obviously my absolute favourite card in the game, Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. She's a no-me monster, can only be summoned out by tributing a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. She gains 300 attack for every dragon in the graveyard, or in my graveyard I should say really, and she can negate any targeting effects against her, so she's got quite a good bit of protection. She's the win condition of my deck. Most of the time when I get her out, it's game over. Next we have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, Seto Kaiba's signature card, because no Blue Eyes deck should be without them. Next we have 3 Baby Blueies! When this card is sent to the graveyard, I can automatically add a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my deck to my hand, and it's a level 1 tuner, so it's quite good for syncering as well. Next we have 1 Light and Darkness Dragon, just to have a bit of control over the field. She negates everything basically, at the cost of her own attack points and defense points. She's also very good for resurrection, because when she's sent to the graveyard, or destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I can pick a target in the graveyard to resurrect, destroy all other cards I control, and then special summon that target. So quite a good little card there. Next, 2 Alexandrite Dragon, 2000 attack, level 4 light type dragon. Very good for running over typical meta cards like Thunder King Ryo and the lower attack point monsters of some of the archetypes nowadays, like wind-ups and sectors and stuff. I'm no longer running Vanguard of the Dragon. Now, it was a good card, I agree, but I was beginning to resent the fact that in order to use its effect fully, I had to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, and I hate that. I hate having Blue Eyes in the graveyard. Obviously, if it's sent for the fusions and all that, that's okay, because then that's the strategy on its way, but I just hate having Blue Eyes in the graveyard in general. I try to resurrect them as much as I can. And the other thing was with Vanguard, I never really got to use the effect as often as I'd liked, because he would often be run over by a bigger monster, or he would be removed from play, and of course I can't use this effect because he's not been sent to the graveyard, so yeah, no longer running Vanguard. Next we have Quackaimeru Draco, a very good anti-meta card for dragon decks. It stops the special summons of light and dark monsters, so very good against like Blackwings, Light Sworns, Summon Sectors, Tour Guides and everything. I have to reveal a dragon type monster in my hand at the end phase to keep her on the field, but that's not too bad because, well, everything in my deck is dragon. Next we have 2 Delta Flyer, my main monster for synchroing and exceeding. It increases other monsters on the field by 1 level. So very good, as I said, very good for getting into level 7s and above synchros, and very good for exceedings into level 3s or 4s. So I keep thinking of taking one out for another tuner, but I have to stop thinking like that because it's just far too good in a dragon deck, I'm afraid, so yeah. Next we have 3 Mass Dragon. When it's destroyed by battle, it can search out a dragon with 15 attack or less to the field. Now, a lot of people keep saying Battle Search is still not very good in this format, but in some ways I agree, because sometimes the opponent will destroy the search engine before it can go off, but some other times they are more interested in what card might come after, because obviously a card after a search engine can be more dangerous. Next we have 3 Totem Dragon. This is my main way of tributing out for Blue Eyes, or for Lad, or even exceeding and synchroing with. It counts as the 2 tributes for the summon of a dragon type monster. And when it's in the graveyard during the standby phase and I've got no monsters on the field, I can resurrect it as long as everything else in the graveyard is dragon. So in order to use this ability fully, I cannot run anything else but dragon. But that's okay, as I said, everything in my deck is already dragon. So, but unfortunately if it's resurrected that way, it is banished, so it's a bit tricky to use, but I've got many ways to resurrect it besides its own ability, so it's not too bad. And when I do resurrect it, as I've said, you don't know what I'm going to do with it. I could exceed with this, I can synchro with it, or I can tribute with it. You just never know what I'm going to do. On to the magic cards now. Polymerization, because it's pro and it's the old-fashioned way of fusion, mainly to fuse into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, obviously, for the Blue Eyes strategy, but on the rare occasion the Blue Eyes strategy fails, I can still use it to fuse into 5-headed dragon if I've not already used them. Next we've got Future Fusion, mainly to target 5-headed dragon, mainly to use with the White Stones and Totem Dragons since their abilities work to the maximum in the graveyard. A little clue here on how this card, of how many Blue Eyes I might have in my hand, depends on the number of White Stones I decide to send to the graveyard. But I can also use it with Alexandrite Dragons and Kwakai Meru, so I can chain a Resurrection card and bring them back, you know, for that sort of combo, you know, very good. On the rare occasion I don't have any Blue Eyes in my hand, but I do have that card, I can fuse into Ultimate Dragon. It's tricky, but I can do it. And next we have 2 Pot of Duality. To search, well, to look at the top 3 cards of the deck and pick one, add it to your hand. Downside is you can't special summon that turn, but that doesn't really bother me too much since I tribute more than special summon. I'm no longer running Gold Sarcophagus. It was a very good card, but I was beginning to rely on it too much for Future Fusion, and I didn't like that. I don't like relying on one card to get everything sorted. And also 2 turns is too slow in this format now. I mean, if you've played against Insectors, Wind-Ups, or any of the top tier decks, no matter what they are very, very quick now, and within 2 turns you could easily lose the duel, and that's what happened with me with Gold Sarcophagus. I would search out the card I needed, but within a turn or 2, before I could use it, the game was over, unfortunately. So Pot of Duality is a bit more quicker, really, because it gives me 6 choices, really. Three of each to have a look at and decide what's actually going to be best for this current situation. For the staples now, we have, of course, Dark Hole to blow up monsters on the field, Monster Reborn to resurrect, 1 Book of Moon in order to protect myself or my monsters, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, no Heavy Storm, because I prefer the chain ability of Mystical Space Typhoon, and it's much less likely to run into things like Starlight Road, of course, and the Huge Evolution is over, and Dark Bribe and things like that. Next we have Trade-In, mainly to use with Blue Eyes. I don't mind discarding Blue Eyes with this card, because 9 times out of 10 I often have a way to resurrect it to draw, and this is good for drawing a bit more draw power in the deck. I had considered other things like card destruction, hand destruction, but they help out the opponent as well, and that's not good, obviously, especially in this format. Next, Foolish Burial. I haven't run this card for quite a while, but I was beginning to rely a bit too heavily on Future Fusion, so I figured 1 Foolish Burial would be good to send that 1 Totem, that 1 Alexandrite, that 1 White Stone to the grave in order to get a strategy going. You know, in case I don't get Future Fusion like within the first couple of turns of a duel or whatever. I can also use it for Blue Eyes if I need to resurrect it, or just for anything really, so very good general versatile little card there. This is probably one of the bigger changes in the deck. 2 Forbidden Chalice, a quick play magic. 1 face-up monster on the field gains 400 attack, but its effect is negated until the end phase. This has replaced Compulsory Evacuation Device. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck, Compulsor's really good. It is, I agree, it's a very, very good card. I would still run it if I could, but the thing is, I was thinking really hard about this. Compulse allows a monster to be reset. It's very good against things like fusions and synchros and X-seeds, obviously, because they need specific summoning requirements in order to summon them. But against a lot of big meta cards, or any card really, monster card really, that activates when it hits the field, you know, it allows the monster to reset, and obviously it gives the opponent another chance to reuse that monster again, and if you've got no way to stop it the next turn after you've played Compulse, obviously you're in trouble. Whereas with Forbidden Chalice, yes, the monster gains 400 attack, so you have to be wary of attack boost, but it also means that the monster is stuck on the field and the opponent probably might not have anything to stop it from being run over by battle or destroyed by other cards that are already on the field and everything. So it's a bit more versatile, and I've actually tried this in a deck build several months ago, and I went up against an Insector deck and I actually won against Insectors with this card when I was testing it, but I wasn't sure about it at first, so I took it out and replaced it with Compulse instead. But now I've gone back to it and hopefully it'll do better. The other good thing about Forbidden Chalice is I can use it on my own monsters. The amount of times Blue Eyes White Dragon has been run over by a monster with just 100 more attack points has been frustrating, to say the least. So it's brilliant for, say for example, somebody attacks a Blue Eyes with a 31 attack monster, I play Forbidden Chalice and they're like, what? Yeah, Blue Eyes is going to kick ass with that, hopefully, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, back onto the video now. For trap cards we have, of course, Mirror Force to blow up stuff in the battle phase, Solemn Judgment to counter anything I need, 2 Torrential Tribute to get rid of Mass Summon, and of course 3 Call of the Haunted to resurrect anything I need, mainly Blue Eyes. I can also use it with Totem Dragons, I can chain it to a Kwakai Meru summon, you name it. I can chain it with a White Stone, use its ability again if it gets destroyed, you name it, I can do it. Extra deck now, we have, of course, 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Risky if she gets bottomlessed or solemn warninged or judged, but by the time I get her out, normally those cards are already used up. Next, 5-Headed Dragon is the main target for Future Fusion, just a 5000 attack beat stick. 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon to special summon and blow up field spells. 1 Black Rose Dragon to reset the field. 1 Stardust Dragon to negate destruction. 1 Red Dragon Archfiend just as a attack point synchro monster, really. And then my favourite synchro in the game, Light End Dragon. You attack her, or she attacks you, your monster loses 1500 attack and defense. In turn she loses 500 attack and defense. And then for the Exceeds, we have 3 number 17 Leviathan Dragon just as a wee 25 attack rank 3 beat stick basically. 1 Queen Dragoon Jin. Dragon monsters on my field can't be destroyed by battle, which is quite good, but if I detach an Exceed material from her, I can resurrect a level 5 or higher dragon monster from my graveyard. It can't attack that turn and its effects are negated, but that's not too bad since the main target is going to be Blue Eyes, and as you know, Blue Eyes still does a lot of things when on the field. Finally we have Thunder End Dragon, exceeded by 2 level 8 normal monsters. It's basically a dark hole built into it when you detach a material. It destroys all other monsters on the field except itself. It's a good optional card if this Blue Eyes strategy fails, but I've still got 2 Blue Eyes on the field. You know, Exceed, blow up everything that I need to, and attack directly with it basically. So yeah, anyway guys, that is the Blue Eyes Dragons deck. I hope you enjoyed that. So there's been quite a few changes, and we'll hopefully get some video of this deck in action very soon and you'll be able to see how it works. So till then, from me and the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, we are signing out. Bye!